Hey everybody, welcome to In the Shop, even though we're not in the shop technically. This is actually the old shop, so maybe that qualifies. My name's Steve Olson. I'm the assistant manager in the shop, filling in for Joe Conkley, who's out, our fearless leader. So I'm going to be sitting in for him this week and trying to discuss resonator instruments and how to amplify them. I ended up being the guy because no one else really wanted to deal with this. When you consider the concept of amplifying a resonator guitar, it's sort of counterintuitive and sacrilegious just to begin with, because originally the instruments were designed to amplify the sound acoustically. It wasn't until they were eclipsed in volume with electric instruments that they sort of lost favor a little bit, except with people trying to really project by themselves. So essentially, when you try to amplify a resonator instrument, it's like if you tried to put a pickup on a speaker and then amplify that through another amplifier and another set of speakers, basically. And so the potential for setting up a feedback loop and having all kinds of problems are kind of exponential depending on how you do it. So this week we're going to try to talk about the different approaches that other manufacturers have done and taken, and explore the different styles of cones and resonator setups that there are. We've grabbed a few guitars from the sales floor to be able to illustrate the point. I'm going to start with this, which is a beautiful beard guitar. It uses an internal pickup made by Fishman. Our stock number is the FRGP1. The pickup elements are built into the saddles that fit into a spider, which is essentially the bridge of the guitar. It's an aluminum spider with legs that contact the top of the cone. That's an inverted cone assembly, so that the spider delivers the sound of the strings vibrating directly to the cone into the internal chamber of the guitar, amplifying the guitar. Acoustically, it's quite loud already, but to be able to utilize it in a band situation and plug it in, it's hard to capture the actual resonance of the guitar faithfully. So different people have tried different approaches over the years. Fishman's had a couple of different attempts, a couple of different products that came out. This one, to my mind, is far superior to the first generation that they came up with, just because it's a fuller sound. They use it with their Aura system, so you can use it in conjunction with pre-recorded samples, essentially, of other instruments, and you can blend the output. So there's all kinds of flexibility now where you don't have to worry about the direct sound of the resonator causing such a feedback problem. It's a pretty direct sound. Give you a taste of it here. See how proximity to the amplification source can be kind of a problem. The other issue, the other issue can be that the pickup coupled with the cone can turn the cone into a parabolic microphone, and it'll pick up everything in the surrounding region wherever you happen to be standing. So if you're playing in a group, you may pick up the acoustic bass, you may pick up a little mandolin, it may all bleed through the pickup depending on how sensitive it is. So that can be one issue where direct boxes And not having a sound source on stage can be a plus, so that you can isolate it if you're using headphones. There are all kinds of ways around it. But if you're using a live amplifier, it's best to keep some distance between yourself and the amplification source so that you're not directly feeding back by, you know, facing a speaker into a speaker, sort of. So, Beard also makes the Rotophonic, which uses a spider bridge and the same Fishman pickup, but then it also has the availability of a neck pickup, which is magnetic. So that sounds like a pretty standard electric guitar. It's a little, this one's a little trickier. Let's see. There we go. It's got a stereo output, so the pickups are switchable. But that's the spider. And then that's the magnetic pickup. So it gives you the combination, and you can split the outputs and amplify them separately. That's a nice option to have live. It's a little smaller guitar, so it's easier to travel with. The spider style bridges are a little different. This is a national guitar, Reso Junior, and this has a Biscuit style bridge. If you can see, it looks like a small round wooden disc with the saddle fit into it, and then that drives the cone, which is a 9.5-inch spun resonator that flares down, and the Biscuit sits on top of the plateaued surface. And then this is like a version of National's hot plate that's specific for this model. So it has a magnetic pickup in the style of a Telecaster neck pickup. So it's a single coil with a volume and tone control. And there's nothing on the cone. It just picks up the magnetic sound of the guitar. So it's in there, but it's a little more distant. It's not a direct cone type sound. But this works well. You don't have as many issues because it's just the magnetic pickup. Let's see. There's also, they make this, what is this called? The Resolux Double Cut. This guitar also has a Biscuit, but they use the same split saddle configuration Fishman pickup, the FRGP1 that we sell, with a P90 neck pickup, a single coil. And it's switchable and has volume, tone on the control plate, or the cover plate that covers the cone. This is choices. It's available. This is a guitar I make. This is the Conetone Resovolt, an earlier one. It's gone through some changes over the years. This one's used and for sales here right at the moment. This has an internal cone. If you look in the back, there's a 8.25-inch Biscuit style cone, and then the heart of the guitar basically is the pickup that I designed, which is the electric Biscuit. It has a piezoelectric element that's built into the Biscuit, and then also contacts the surface of the cone to pick up the overtones. And then there's a humbucking pickup under the top, with a volume control adjacent to it here, with a single bar exposed, voiced similarly to a Charlie Christian pickup, And then there's a three-way switch and a volume for this pickup, a volume for this pickup, and then a three-way selector switch. So. So there are a few different ways of coming at the problem. This one doesn't have a cover plate, which in my estimation kind of helps isolate the cone more and helps keep it from feeding back directionally. So you still have to kind of keep yourself between the amp source, especially if it's loud on a busy stage, but it usually takes care of the problem. If there are any questions or any other concerns and you want to ask, be happy to answer any other specific questions. Most pickups, there's also the Highlander pickup. They make one that's built into a Biscuit. That's a different design so that it's built into a coved circular section of the underside of the Biscuit, and it rides above the rim of the cone. It doesn't contact the cone, so it's a little more distant sounding that way, but that's a nice alternative. Nationals used those for a long time. Contact transducers and other piezoelectric style elements can work, but if it's just peeled or like stuck directly to the surface of the cone, there's nothing really driving or compressing the piezoelectric element to increase the output. So at this point, that's also an option, but if you have any specific questions, feel free to call or type on your computer. That's right, that's what we're doing now here. So you just ask your questions and we'll try to get them answered as soon as we can. Go ahead and like us on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. And thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.